Hello, everyone. My name is Ahmed Graves Eel, and welcome to S&J Today's podcast, South Jersey Stories, where we get beneath the surface of the news stories and topics we're still talking about. With me is Dara Sakura, who has been the proprietor of Otis B Jewelry for more than a decade. Dara is here to discuss the company's origins, the trials and tribulations her and her employees have gone through to make the business successful, how they became a global organization, what it's like to be full-time workers plus full-time mothers, and more. Thank you, Dara, for coming here today to talk to S&J Today about your business. First of all, what's the name of your business?
Otis B Jewelry.
That's a cool name. How did you come up with the name?
Oh, man. It's a really long story. It's actually not a long story. It's just kind of silly.
We like silly.
That is actually a nickname that was given to my mother. See, we're back to my mom. Her name is Lois Elizabeth, and when she was a little girl, she couldn't pronounce her name, so she called herself Otis Bezbez, and it was a nickname that stuck with her for years, even to this day. And so I just thought it would be really cute, since she kind of pushed me into getting into this whole thing, that
Right.
I would sort of, give a little nod to her and name my business sort of after her, sort of, kind of. It's a name I knew nobody else would want to take.
So did your mom accept the acknowledgement?
Yes.
Was she happy when she found out you named it?
Yeah, she thought that
after
was
her?
very sweet. Yeah.
That's cool.
I'm sure that has gotten me out of a lot of trouble many times with her.
Okay. Where did you start your business?
I started my business, I started it as a hobby in the basement of my childhood home.
The basement?
The basement. The dark, dark basement. Yes. It was just a hobby. Very simple. I would just go downstairs, create, unwind, relax, But like anything else, in order to sustain a hobby, you need to pay for it somehow. So I need to start selling them. So I started selling in just little area boutiques at first.
So you were selling jewelry items that you made up or little knickknacks?
Yeah, the jewelry that I was making, I would just sell. And they were all one of a kind, just one-off pieces. And I would take them on consignment to different shops and they would sell them.
Was it a surprise that people were purchasing your products?
It was, because I liked them. I knew that, I thought I was making things that were pretty cool. But what's really funny, if I can tell you this story.
Oh, yes, you may.
One of the first things that I ever sold, I actually was at a barbecue, back in my hometown. They have this annual barbecue thing. And I was standing in line to get food, and I was behind this woman, and I saw the clasp on her necklace. I'm like, man, that looks like something I made. And she turned around, and it was one of the first things I ever sold, ever.
Wow.
And this was 10 years later. And I tapped her on the shoulder, and I said, Can I ask you, did you get that at, thus and such a shop? And she said, I didn't. She said, but my mother got it for me for my birthday years ago. And she said, it's one of my favorite necklaces. I made that.
That's cool.
So that was really neat. And that has happened now a couple of times where I've just run into somebody wearing a piece of my jewelry, which is really cool now.
Yeah, you must have been ecstatic when you saw that. Knew it was yours.
Yeah, I was. That was a good feeling, definitely.
Cool.
Yeah, very gratifying.
So at Otis B Jewelry, you create bracelets, anklets, necklaces, and more. Mm-hmm. First, can you tell us what other products do you make?
We do a lot of bridal jewelry. We outfit entire bridal parties, weddings, anybody for, jewelry, necklaces, earrings, whatever. We do a lot of corporate work as well. We'll get a lot of orders for sororities or organizations that want, we're working on an order now for 40 necklaces for, a memorial organization. We just did 120 pieces for another organization at a military base. So what we do little one-off pieces for everyday customers, and we'll do larger corporate orders as well. So it's cool.
That's cool. I would assume that creating those items, the products and the jewelry that you make, is a meticulous and painstaking process.
It can be tedious. I think the stamping, which is what I do a lot of the hand engraving is very tedious.
The hand engraving is called stamping?
Yeah, the hand stamping, yeah.
Okay.
All of that stuff can get very tedious.
Well, how do you garner the patience to construct all those items?
Man, patience is not something I would say I have. It's just, I've had to learn a lot of patience for sure. And this business has definitely taught me a lot of patience. But it's if I want it done, it's got to be done right. I just have to take my time with things. And sometimes I will screw up, and sometimes I have to redo the same piece 3 times. But it's not going to go out until it's perfect. So patient or not, it's got to be right. So I just got to sit there and try again. Sometimes I do have to step away from an order. I'll try it, I'll whack at it for a couple minutes, and it's not working out. I'll be like, you know what? Let me move on. I'll go back to this one later, and then work from there. But patience, I've had to learn that for sure. Being a business owner, you need a lot of patience.
Patience equals wisdom.
Does it?
I don't know. I read that in the book somewhere.
Ooh.
So how many items and jewelry items on average do you think you create daily?
Man, daily. I mean...
On average?
On average, I would say between 20 and 30 pieces a day. Yeah, around there. And that's typical. When it's busier, like right around Mother's Day, weddings, graduations, which is the time we're coming into now, and also Christmas time, definitely be 60, 70 pieces.
See, it sounds like a lot because I saw some of the pictures online, and
it is a lot.
Like
trust
necklaces,
me.
I trust you.
It's a lot. I try to keep each piece. Here's a little trick. In my design process, when I'm creating a new item, I try and keep the creation of this item to not exceed 6 minutes.
Wow.
So I want to be able to stamp it. If it requires stamping, I want to be able to stamp it out, assemble it, be done with the order within 3 to 6 minutes.
So you've got it down to a science? For the most part.
I can sit here and nod and say, yes, absolutely.
Nobody would see.
Nothing is perfect, and nobody's going to see any difference. So yes, I do. I have it down to a science. No, it's a little personal rule that I stick by.
Okay.
Just to keep things streamlined and not get too crazy. Things that do take longer, I'll probably only sell 1 or maybe 2 of them, and then that's it.
Okay. Do you consider what you do, jewelry making, an art? And if so, why?
I do consider it an art because there is a great deal of thought and creativity and a good deal of myself that goes into everything. Every piece that I offer, I've either sat down myself or with Johanna, who's my business partner, and we discuss, the relevancy of the item to whatever is going on in the world or holiday or seasonal or whatever. And we discuss the meaning that it could possibly have, because a lot of our items also come on these message cards that we also design and print. And we like to make sure that our pieces are not just pretty, and not just artistic in that way, but also meaningful and special and inspiring. And we want people to open that box and not just say, hey, that's a really cool necklace somebody made, but be like, oh my gosh, that is the sweetest, and I'm going to wear this every day because this means, whatever to me. So it is an art. I do definitely feel like it is an art.
So you put your heart and soul into everything you make?
Everything I make, yes. Yes, absolutely.
That's cool. So who else works with you?
Right now it is Johanna and I in the office, and then we have Andrea, who works for us. She is based on the other side of the country. She runs customer service for us, and she takes care of all of the pre-order questions and post-order any issues, customer issues or whatever. That's what she does. So she doesn't need to be with us in the office to do that. But yeah, mostly it's just Johanna and I.
Okay. Are you both mothers?
We are. Yeah. We are. She has her daughter in the office right now. And I usually have to bring my kids too if I'm really overworked and busy and, I need more time. I bring them to the office and we entertain them there. Or they entertain themselves to some degree.
Well, see, so that makes me wonder, how do you juggle the numerous responsibilities you have being a mother, an owner, and employee of Otis B Jewelry, along with all the other duties that you have that we might not even know about? How do you do it?
Yeah, I don't. That's something I definitely don't have down to a science at all. I think every day I'm still trying to make everything work perfectly. But the fact that my girls know what I do, they understand what I do. They understand how demanding being a business owner is. They see that, that my job can be very demanding. So they are accepting of that. So if I tell them, after school when I pick them up, I say we got to go back to the office, they're fine with that, mostly. And they'll come and they'll sit and they'll do their homework while I finish up what I need to do. It's a lot of late hours. There's a lot of late nights. It's a lot of work while I'm constantly working. My phone is constantly in my hand because I'm always answering questions or creating ads for social media or editing pictures on my phone. I'll be in the checkout line at ShopRite working from my phone. So it's constant. So juggling, I'm not sure if I'm really great at juggling or really awful at it. I'm not sure which it is. Because I would pick the former. I'm constantly working, but yeah, I do make sure to spend as much time with my kids as possible and let them know that they're the most important thing to me. But yeah, they also know that I'm always working. They let me, so that's good. It's a mutual understanding.
So your children respect what you do? They
absolutely do. They actually think it's pretty cool. They're very proud to tell people what I do and to show people, things that I've made that they're wearing or,
That's cool.
Yeah.
Because a lot of children don't like talking about their parents.
The girls, I have 3 little girls, and they're all very proud of this company and what I do, and that makes me happy. I hope that they see what I do, and I hope that they're empowered to do their own thing one day if that's what they so choose. Or hey, maybe they can work for me one day. I could use a couple extra hands in the office.
That's interesting. Mm-hmm. So, upon some research, your business appears to be extremely successful. And when I say extremely, I mean extremely successful. I was also in your office and I saw a giant map that showed a multitude of countries where people have ordered your products. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us some of those countries where you send your products to?
The list of where we haven't shipped to is probably shorter.
Wow.
Yeah, we have sent products all over the world. It's been 10 years of selling online. I don't think there's one country that I have not shipped to. I really don't. It's been incredible. But yeah, we'll get the smallest little place that we ever sent something to is a tiny island, tiny French island called Reunion off the coast of Madagascar. It's a very tiny little island. And I remember the day that I got that order, I looked at it, I'm looking at the address, I'm like, I have to look that up. I have never once heard of this place. And this has happened a bunch of times where, it's like, wow, neat. I would love to visit there, but hey, this is the next best thing.
At least your jewelry.
Send something that I have made myself to this place. So that's pretty cool.
What other countries like?
Yesterday we shipped one out to Saudi Arabia. Let me see. We have gone to, Qatar. Yeah. I think everywhere maybe except for the Bahamas. Bahamas has a huge import tax, so.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So they don't got a whole lot.
That's one country you may not be visiting.
No. But yeah, most countries. We've shipped everywhere.
So how did your business that started out of your home become not only internationally known, but well received?
I largely due to Etsy and their presence online. I mean, that became such a huge movement, that whole handmade movement that they started when they went live with that website back in, I think it was 2007. And I came on the scene in 2008. And that was just when they were starting. That was just when I was starting. It just happened to be the perfect time, I think. Just everything kind of culminated beautifully, and
the stars were aligned.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And because I wasn't planning on any of this, a lot of it has been trial and error. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you see the success of it, but you got to understand there has been so many mistakes made and so many errors, so many things that I wish I could redo, but what you can do.
What's like the biggest mistake that you feel that you've done? And you've had to overcome it as well, so.
One of the biggest mistakes I would say that I've done and that I've made in business is at one point we overstaffed for sure. Because I think we had this idea that Johanna and I, that we would have more time to create and develop new product if we had all these other ones kind of pumping out the orders and taking care of all the back end stuff and the social media and things like that. But once you make the decision to put your business in the hands of someone else, you have to understand that nobody is going to care about your business the same way that you do. Right. Nobody's going to attend to it the same way that you would. It's not going to happen. They didn't create these things. You did. They didn't build this. You did. So my advice to somebody else, I think, with a small business is don't be tempted to put your story in the hands of someone else to tell it. Don't ever entrust that to someone else because they're going to drop the ball.
That's really deep. That's some sound advice as well.
Hey, look, trial and error. I never went to college. I graduated high school and immediately entered the workforce. So I'm sure I could have benefited from a lot of business and marketing courses, but this whole past 10 years has been just the same as if I had gone to college for business and marketing.
Now, because of your success, would you consider yourself a role model for young women or women in general?
To a degree, I would say sure, maybe. I don't really like to say that. I don't really like to say yes to that. I think that there are a lot of things that I have been through personally and professionally that my children and other women who are close to me or know me at all could learn from, definitely. I have other friends who are entrepreneurs themselves who have learned from successes and failures of my own, which is great. And I do love that. I think that's awesome. I love that I have this story to tell, and it's important for any woman, I think, to realize that you can build something from nothing. You can take a talent that you have and use it to your advantage. You make something lucrative out of it. You can do that. It just takes a lot of ambition, and it takes a lot of persistence.
And moxie.
Yeah, definitely. It's the hardest thing in the world sometimes to keep going when you just feel like giving up. It really is. But that's what owning a small business is much of the time, is continuing when you feel like, is this even worth it? But it always is. It definitely always is.
That's funny. I was going to ask you that too. Like, how many times did you think about giving up?
Just today?
just in the last 5 minutes.
I wanted to walk out of this interview like 5 minutes ago.
Luckily, we kept the doors locked just in case. Except that one over there where you can't see it.
It was when I saw the bee. I was like, no, this is done. We're done here.
It was just here to bring us honey, that's all.
Yeah, I don't think it was a honeybee. But okay, we'll say that. No, look, it's a lot. There's been a lot of times that I have felt like, should I just get, a 9 to 5? Should I just tap out of this now? It's very stressful. It can be very stressful. But I can't. This has to work. This has been my bread and butter for the past 10 years. It has to work. So I continue on, and it's working. So I'm not going to stop.
Congratulations. We're proud of you. We're proud of you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I think the first person to ever say that they were proud of me was my accountant. Your accountant?
That was the first person to ever say, girl, I am proud of you. And I said, thanks.
As long as it came from somebody.
All right. Yeah.
So, do you have any advice for mothers who may not want to get into the workforce for fear of not being able to handle all the responsibilities that come with working and taking care of a family? Yeah,
the only advice that I would ever say to that is if it's got to be done, you just got to find a way to do it. And there's always a way to do it. You can do it. In life, with every situation, there are always workarounds. You just got to find the workaround. There's always a way to make it happen. And if you can do something from your home, start there. Even if it's something small and seemingly insignificant, but you can grow that. And take things a day at a time, a little bit at a time, and make it into whatever you want it to be. But you got to make it work. When push comes to shove, you got to make it work, right?
Right.
What else are you going to do?
Well, you're definitely a testament of having something small grow into something international.
Yeah, well, like I told you, Johanna, who couldn't be with us today.
Who should be here with us today. Who
should definitely be here with us today. But shortly, about a year after I started, I asked her, we were coming into Mother's Day season, and I took her out to dinner, and I said, hey, would you mind maybe working for me for the next month or so? Because I really can't handle this all by myself. And she was like, yeah, sure, why not? And we celebrated, a little part-time job for Joe, yeah. And then she has not stopped working for me for almost 10 years now. Oh, man.
That must mean you're a great boss as well.
Oh, man. It works that we get along really, really well. I know I'm not perfect. I am not perfect, no way. But we get along very well. We work well together. We were discussing the other day, the things that she worries about are things completely opposite of the things that I worry about, which works beautifully.
Right.
You need that person that is worrying about those things that you don't give much thought to, or that you should be giving more thought to. Because if it weren't for her, man, I wouldn't be able to do this for sure.
Well, we have to give props to Johanna.
I know, right?
So going back to Mother's Day, do you have any special Mother's Day jewelry items that you're working on?
Yeah, you know what? We just started selling rose gold, which is huge, very popular. And people have been asking me for rose gold items for a really long time. And the price of rose gold is higher than the price of all my other components, all the other hardware, the regular yellow and sterling silver. So I put it off. And finally, I got into it, started selling these rose gold items. And now for Mother's Day, especially coming up, all of our, Mother's Day pieces, the mother's necklaces and family tree items that we sell that are usually very popular, even more so now because of this beautiful pink gold that everybody loves. So it matches their phones. It matches everything. So yeah, that's been good. That's been successful for the past week since I've been selling it.
Well, it just goes along with Otis B Jewelry being successful itself.
Well, I hope so. I hope it continues.
I hope so too. Thank you, Dara, for spending your time with us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you. It was great.
Where can we find your products?
Okay, so we actually have a few different places online that you can find our products. There, of course, is the Etsy website, which is otisbjewelrygifts.etsy.com, or you can find us our standalone website, which is otisbjewelry.com, much easier to remember. And now we were just accepted into Amazon Handmade, which is, of course, you can find Amazon online as well, and you can search for Otis B there too.
Thanks, everyone, for listening to SNJ Today's podcast, South Jersey Stories. Find more local news at snjtoday.com or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. South Jersey Stories is hosted by Ahmed Graves Eel and produced by Kevin Howard, with music provided by Jeff Schwachter.